There's been a lot of discussion about the loudness wars. As you guys know, I'm not really comfortable with the term loudness wars because 0 0 is just packing more below zero than ever before, which gives the perception of it being louder, but it's technically not louder. Uh, in the digital world, if you cross zero, a lot of bad things can happen now. A lot of the great mastering guys can cross zero. I have trouble doing it. But what I wanted to show you today was we're making music for people to consume, and if we take our job responsibly, we want to give them as good a quality and as great a work as we can give them, but something that they would enjoy. That's the whole concept: is to give our audience music they enjoy, but to do it within the cost restrictions, the time restrictions, and the skill restrictions that we all have. So with that philosophy, sometimes I feel like I'm losing a little bit of transients when I dump a bunch of stuff into a limiter. So I started trying to figure out how to cure that. A lot of limiters don't give you control over the attack, but even if they did, I'm not sure you need it with this technique. So what I experimented with over the last year was, and I'm not the first, by the way. There's several people across the internet that have done this, and if I'm stepping on your toes, I apologize, but I'm clearly not the first. Russ over at ProToolsExpert.com with hyphens in between each word, he's got some incredible tutorials. Although I can't remember if I saw this on his site or not, but if I did, it was subconscious because I think I was doing this a long time ago. The minute that Transients by Waves came out, I was using it that way. So let me show you some examples of taking and enhancing the transients before the limiter, and let's see how that works out. See if we get anything on the other side of the limiter we like better. Once again, D Mechanic, the song D Mechanic, Jorge and Joaquin and Arturo is the song. Now here's the drum track. All my drums are feeding into this aux. It's kind of cluttered because I'm setting it up to show you several different things. And I'll explain these two scenarios in a minute. Now I'm dumping all of this into Ozone 5. Ozone 5 is really not a factor here, and we're going to do with it without so you can see what's going on. So my limiter, of course, that I love is the L2007 by Massey. Let's check it out without it. With it. Okay, now I'm going to take this off for now just so that we can get a feel for what we're doing. Now here's with. This is a very inexpensive, really good quality transient enhancer. It's called Bittersweet 2 by Flux, who makes some incredible products. So I'm gonna do one time through the bar without it, and then we'll listen a couple times with it. Pretty dramatic. I recommend you listen to this on pretty good quality earbuds or headphones or speakers. On my NS10s, it's very dramatic. Even on my R-tones and my laptop, it's actually dramatic. I'm cranking it way too much. I would normally run it about right here. Okay. Now, what about if you're doing maybe a rock song and you want to try it with a compressor? Works just as good, doesn't it? Now, I'm running a really slow attack time. Now, if I increase the attack time, it's going to have the effect of shortening the transients, which is predictable. The longer attack time sometimes makes it sound better. Let's see what happens in this example when we go to a quick attack time. Okay, so another technique is to use a slower attack time. Now that causes other issues to come into play that you might have to compensate for with your release time. Now I'm going to give you one other example of a commonly used plugin for transient enhancement. Here's the Transients wide. This is a setting I use a lot. Go ahead and pinch this guy. This is a setting I use a lot for my, of course you're going to have to change the threshold and the makeup gain, but this is kind of a starting place I like on the waves and on the UAD SSL compressor. So here we go, compression but no limiting and no transient enhancement. With the compressor, I think this is a little bit sweeter than the bittersweet. Let's try the bittersweet in the same spot. See if I'm right. Ooh, I don't know, bittersweet sounds good. It's just up to you. So there you go. Experiment before you get to the compressor, and you might try Transient Designer. You might try slight compression before the limiter. You can try, sometimes I'll try L2 before my Ozone 5. You can actually see where it didn't work on this song, but you know, I told you I'd let you hear kind of a finished chain. Let me do that for you real quick. So I've got the Ozone set with slower attack times on the compression part, so that what transients I've added before everything gets there to the stereo bus make it through. Here's where I put my plugins. You know, real quick, a lot of you guys ask me, why do I have 3 things? Well, I like to record on this guy. Now this master allows me to have control over the input level going to this track. It gives me it reduces my potential to distort and to get crazy negative things happening when I get a dB or two too loud. And then if I were to put plugins here, when I brought this down, like the compression would change because it's actually controlling the input to the compressor. This way, I set this first, and then my compression doesn't change when I lower the level. Now, if I lower the level of this guy, then this is obviously going to change, but I'm -6, just to give me a little bit of headroom. You can tell I'm not really nuking anything too much. This little bit of distortion here is only about 0.5 dB, and actually kind of adds to the sound a little bit. So there you go.